Can you walk me through which prominent social media platforms are actually going to be impacted by your legislation?
Representative Soroy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. So we're not looking at any particular platform, but what we are looking at are trying to tailor this legislation to addictive features. Autoplay, for example, infinite scroll, push notifications that provide that dopamine hit, other features that are intentionally designed to capture and hold our kids' attention. Those are the features that we are seeking out with this legislation.
Follow-up, Representative Eskamani, you're recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for the explanation. So does that include Facebook and Instagram as two examples?
Representative Soroy, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Once again, I'm not going to get into specific companies.
Recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So assuming Facebook is one of them, if Facebook removes the addictive features, would they no longer face the ban?
Representative Soroy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. So what our bill is focused on doing is protecting the children of this state from features that we understand are addictive in nature. Their own former executives have told us that. We received 3 hours of testimony in the Regulatory Reform Committee from experts, psychologists, mental health professionals that told us that. So what this bill is designed to do is focus on the features that we understand and that our experts are telling us are addictive. I'm not going to get into which company is doing what activity, but what I will tell you is that I think once our bill is out there in the domain, the market can choose whether or not to respond to the standards that we have put in place to keep Florida's children safe.
Follow up, Representative Eskamani, back to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Okay, going back to my previous line of questioning. So if a platform that finds itself subject to this bill, potentially law, decides to change the features, so eliminate the defined addictive policies, would they be able to avoid the components of your legislation?
Representative Soroy, you're recognized for an answer.
Mr. Speaker, I would suggest that this question has been asked and answered.
Can you rephrase or come up with another question? Representative Eskamani, you have the floor.
Happy to do that, Mr. Speaker. Do any messaging apps, do they fall under the definition of what is in the bill?
Representative Soroy, you're recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to yield to Representative Rayner.
Representative Rayner at Representative Soroy's desk, you're recognized.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. And Representative Eskamani, thank you for that question. I would point you to page 6, starting at line 144 of the bill. So if the messaging app falls under any of these descriptions, yes, then we would say that this bill is applicable. If it does not, then it would not fall under this bill.
Follow up, Representative Eskamani.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir Representative, does that include Snapchat?
Representative Rayner at Representative Soroy's desk.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. And so, Representative Eskamani, I think where we're coming from is that we do not want to call out any specific social media company. So once again, if the social media platform falls under any of the things that we have identified, then obviously they would be subject to this law. So I don't know if it would be helpful for us to actually get into naming specific.
Representative Eskamani, you're recognized.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I guess what would be helpful as I decide how to vote is knowing what social media companies are impacted. And so I'm just can you give me any examples? There's so many companies out there. Would love that's more specific.
Representative Eskamani, it's been said in the questions and answers there's no particular company. Representative Eskamani, we'll start the clock. You're recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and welcome everyone to the Florida House. Okay. So you mentioned, Representative Soroy, that there were executives that testified in Congress speaking to the addictive policies. Who were those executives?
Representative Soroy, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Representative Eskamani. It's